Hi, my name is Riley, and this is, mine, but not mine. Our podcast. We started this as a little thing after we started having conversations on the bus, and got involved in politics and stuff like that. And we figured we'd just take it off the bus and turn it into more of a professional feeling. Not really professional, but somewhere we can continue the conversation. And I think it'll be interesting for you to see us grow throughout it. The structure of the podcast will be mostly represented by 2 episodes of talking more about current events and things that are happening in the world right now, and more slice of life content, like talking about what happened last Tuesday with Sarah, or the new Kendrick Lamar album that dropped. Whatever it may be, but every 3 episodes, what we'll do is we'll take a topic and we'll devote the episode specifically to that topic. We'll take about 15 minutes at the beginning to cover current events if anything's important's happening. But after that, we're going to get straight into the episode of talking about that topic, and we will have had researched it for a week, so we'll have a lot of information to talk about, obviously. This podcast is also a good opportunity for younger people to start to get involved in politics, because I feel like news has always been boring and fucking lame to watch, and I feel like if we make it more digestible and more interesting to watch in more of a podcast and conversation based style, it might be a little bit more interesting for the younger generation that's trying to get more involved in politics. Because honestly, right now we have our generation is more involved in politics than it has been since like Vietnam. It's crazy how involved we are comparatively to our the generations before us, and I feel like we need to giving an outlet for that. It would be very it'd be cool. And I think it'll be interesting, especially with the lovely cast that we have on. And actually, I'll let you meet them right now. What is your name?
Mujtaba Siddiqui.
My name is Jayden Robbins.
My name is Zaid Siddiqui.
My name is William Decker.
My name is Riley Peasons.
My name is Phoebe.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up here in Clifton Park, New York.
Complex answer. I come from a military family, so I've moved everywhere my whole life. I've never lived somewhere for longer than 3 years. So I've moved from North Carolina, from Florida, from Virginia, from where I was born, which was Rhode Island, but I currently live right now in New York.
I grew up in upstate New York.
I grew up in Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah originally. It's where I was born. And then when I was about 10, I moved to Pennsylvania, where I lived for about 2.5, almost 3 years. Then I moved here to New York.
I spent the early part of my childhood in Kansas City before moving here to New York.
Well, I was born in Albany, New York, and then my parents moved to Missouri until I was like 5 or 6, and then I've grown up here.
How old are you?
I am 15 years old, the youngest of the bunch.
I'm 16.
I am currently 16 years old.
I'm 17.
I'm 16 years old.
I'm 15.
And what are your pronouns?
He, him.
She, her.
He, him.
He, him.
My pronouns are he, him.
Currently she, her.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Introvert all the way.
Definitely introverted.
I have some introvert qualities, but I think I would be lying to myself and everyone here if I didn't say I was an extrovert.
A little bit of both, but probably more introverted.
Very much so an introvert. I, with my close friends, can be an extrovert, but around new people or in crowds of big people, I am an introvert.
I'm a natural introvert, but over the course of my lifetime, I've worked on being more sociable, so it's a skill I've developed.
And what is your religious standpoint?
I'm a Muslim, so I believe in one God and all of his messengers, but my faith does not worship Jesus. They only view him as the messenger of God.
I've never really been a very religious person. I think I would most align myself with an atheist, but I'm totally open to if like a religion is real and a God exists. I'm not gonna be angry about it. I'd be cool with it.
I'm a Catholic Christian, which means I believe in Jesus and God and all of that wonderful, great stuff.
I am a Muslim who believes in Islam.
I'm a Christian, more commonly known as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or even more commonly a Mormon.
Somewhere between atheist and agnostic. I think I'm pretty spiritual. I have like crystals and stuff. I have my evil eye necklace that I wear every day. And I believe that some things are just meant to be.
And what is your economic background?
I grew up middle class.
I have grown up very much so upper middle class.
I would say on my father's side, I've it's always been very upper middle class. But when I used to visit my biological mother, I would grow up in the ghettos, and that's an experience that I've had, and it's made me appreciate life there a little bit.
Middle class.
I grew up in a higher middle class. I had things handed to me. I didn't really have to work for much. Yeah, I'm still like that today. It makes me kind of seem like a spoiled brat. I promise I'm not. Although I am perfect.
I've always grown up in a middle class home.
What made you join this podcast?
I needed to make a quick buck.
I was interested in the opportunity to have intellectually stimulating conversation with my friends.
Well, hearing all the debates on the bus, since I was one of the originals, I don't know, I just thought it would be something for me to do, something fun, something new, and I thought I'd give it a try.
Similar to Jayden, I was one of the original people on the bus, and I thought it'd be really fun to start a podcast, even if it wasn't successful, just to have a place where we can formally talk as friends about interesting topics.
I would say that I'm pretty much the inspiration for this podcast. I was told by my parents that I should start one, and I laughed in their face. I told them that I don't want to be the guy with the podcast, but the more people I asked, the more people I was told that, yeah, you should do it. You talk for hours. You should do it. And, well, I think it'll be interesting to experience our very interesting conversations.
You?
And what are some of your strengths?
Ooh, that is a good question. I think I'm intelligent and analytical.
I'm really good at technology. I'm really good at researching things to learn about them so I can use them. Before this, microphones are something I never knew how to use. Hopefully it's better, done thanks to my research. I like to be there for people. I struggle from a lot of my own anxiety, so it's easy for me to understand a lot of other people's problems.
I'm funny, awesome, generous. Did I mention I'm perfect? I'm gorgeous. I'm hot. I'm sexy. I'm everything you would ever need in a girl.
I think I'm a good listener, and I think I'm open-minded. I care a lot about the people around me, and I will protect them.
I would say that I'm very curious, where I will go out of my way to learn anything about anything that I'm interested in learning about. I'm very charismatic. I feel like that I am very convincing and very good when, and very well spoken. And I'm very caring. I've kind of been designated as the therapist of the group. I'm the person that everybody comes to when they have issues, and the one that listens.
I am curious, ambitious, and competitive.
And what are some of your weaknesses?
I'm not patient in general or with people, so I have a short fuse. Also, I'm really bad at apologies.
You know what? I'll just list them. I've ADHD, so I'm very prone to being distracted and not stay on task. You should see how long this recording is. I am prone to be very hot-headed. I have this. I go on rants, and am sometimes hard to cool down and not be. It's hard for me to not talk over people sometimes. I've been told that I'm very loud. Like I said, I talk over people, and I've been told that I mansplain a little bit.
I can be moody and a little short-tempered sometimes, and I'm as open-minded as I am. I'm also stubborn and stuck in my ways.
Like I just said, anxiety. I have pretty bad social anxiety, pretty bad just anxiety overall, which leads to depression and other fun things. I also have a hard time meeting new people, talking to new people. I like to know and be in control.
I'm really fucking sensitive.
I tend to be fairly bad with social interactions.
In your opinion, what is an ideal podcast?
An ideal podcast is one that makes me my profit.
An ideal podcast is where everyone walks away closer to the solution or some form of truth.
I don't really think there is an ideal podcast. I think as long as we have fun, do what we would like, and if we like what that is, I think it would be a good podcast no matter what, as long as we have fun.
An ideal podcast is very much so just one that you have fun in, when you talk about it a lot, when you just something that's there as a memory, not so much as a money-making thing.
The ideal podcast is one where everyone here is able to actually have a chance to be able to speak their mind and not be shut down, and be able to explain how they feel, and maybe have an opportunity to change their mind if evidence is presented to them that they agree with, and something where it ends up being something interesting to watch.
One where we get along with each other.
How do you feel about making your personality and opinions more public?
I hope people will like me.
I think it is what it is. If people want to hear what I have to say, then that's great. If they don't, I don't care.
It doesn't bother me too much because you can find pretty much everyone's opinions on the internet. If you really cared about one specific person's opinion on the internet, then you have a whole thing coming, because you can find everyone's opinions on the internet. So it's not really a big deal that your opinion's out there, the way I see it.
I couldn't really care less. I'm excited that this is going to be a little more formal than just talking on the back of a bus. But yeah, I couldn't really care what happens with it.
Well, I personally have not had social media. It ended up being something where it started as something where I was just didn't have the time and didn't use it well. I just didn't use it, and it started to be something where it was like a personality trait that I was not on social media. At this point, I think I'm gonna change that, and it's gonna be very interesting to see how I react to being online.
Well, as much as I'm an introvert, I think I make my personality and opinions very public, no matter when I'm in school or with friends. So I guess it doesn't really matter because I already am a really loud person.
And to go along with that thread, how will you handle criticism?
Poorly. Very poorly. Unless it's... actually, no, it depends. It depends on what kind of criticism it is. Because if it is criticism that I can withstand and that I can change about myself or change slightly to better myself on the podcast, then I will take that criticism. But other than that, if it's hateful, I will not be taking it well.
If it's positive criticism or constructive criticism, I think I'll try my best to take it. If it's anything else, I'll probably just forget about it within a day. I'll ignore it.
I think I will handle criticism better than most of the people here. I will be the one that's reading most of the comments, and I will be the one that's actually taking into consideration the comments that are made on the videos, and laughing at the ones that are not constructive.
If it's valid, I'll take it to heart and correct it. But if it's not valid, then I'll disregard it.
What criticism?
again, they can say whatever they want. It doesn't really affect my opinions and how I view the world.
What do you bring to the table?
I don't really bring much. Again, I was kind of just drawn in here by the rest of the group, and I'm entirely okay with it because I get to make part of the profit. So.
Everything. I'm me. Duh.
This is my table. So I'd have that, but in all honesty, I bring a leftist perspective on issues, so that way it doesn't. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't sound echo chamberish, and I bring a little bit of comedy, and I will be bringing most of the evidence. I will probably be the one that's giving most of the information before the podcast.
Maybe like napkins or water glasses.
Like I said, a lot of technology capabilities. I'm the one that gets everything to happen. I kind of take the ideas that we all have and make it work.
I think I'm different from everyone else, but everyone's individual, so I bring my own individuality and my experiences. Also, I am Muslim and the son of immigrants, so I think that also adds a different experience.
And if you had to choose, what would you give yourself as a political label?
Democratic Socialist.
I'm not really into politics. I think whenever we have debates on this podcast, my real basis on what I say is going to be ethical and religious.
If I had to choose one, I would think that I am a centrist. I don't really side with either sides. Like, sometimes I'll side with, Republicans, sometimes I'll side with Democrats, but it just depends on what the topic we are debating about is for me to, like, decide. And if I have no opinion, I'm just gonna stay in the middle.
Similarly to a lot of us, I don't really fall into a category. It's very dependent on the situation. If it's, who knows what we're talking about, but I can fall really heavily to one side or the other. I really switch between every type there is.
I would just start off by calling myself the leftist. I feel like there's always been inherent infighting on the left, and having just the term leftist makes it something that's easy to rally behind, so that way it's a little bit more organized and you're able to actually display and convey your opinions through one goal instead of many different little splintered fragments of ideology. But if you're asking for my splintered ideology, I'd probably call myself a democratic socialist.
That question always gets me because people always view it as a binary answer. Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, left, right. I'm not even a centrist though, because I'm always on, I guess you could say, one side or the other, depending on the issue. So I wouldn't even label myself. I'm neither of those because I actually despise certain aspects of both parties. So I'm just myself, a human being.
And what's your ideal form of governance?
My ideal form of government is either a caliphate or a benign dictator. So the way, I think, obviously, if you can't tell, then I do a lot of thinking at night when I can't sleep. But my two ideal governments are a pacific anarchy, which means an anarchy where everyone agrees not to harm anyone else. And the other is a benign dictatorship, where the dictator is benign and always makes the right decision. Obviously, both governments are impossible, so I don't think the perfect government exists. My problem with democracy is that it's inefficient because you have so many opinions. How are you going to get anything done?
Well, as I said previously, I'm a democratic socialist, so my form of government would be more turned towards democracy instead of the republic that we have now. It's more, as of right now, we're more governed by representatives that are voted in, sometimes not even by popular vote, and I feel like it'd be more moral to have a governance that's represented by the people and not by singular representatives. And when it comes to economic systems, hopefully something socialism-ish that provides an opportunity for everyone to have a good life, to have food, to have shelter, to have water, and I would give a bunch of other opinions that I have, but I honestly am being told that I don't have the time to say that right now. You have to see that in the rest of the podcast.
A prison system that looks more like rehab, natural parks, and preserving land for Native Americans, federal programs that help aid with homelessness, free education, and no two-party system.
A lot of people hate me for this, but my ideal government is a perfect form of communism. Like communism on paper seems perfect. I like a world where you shouldn't have to work to earn money to be able to buy something. We should just, which is never going to happen, but we as a human society should just be able to help each other, and without greed, without anything, just get along. Like, say, hey, I need this, you go get it. You have access to it, and we all, doesn't matter your ability, but we just all work to get to the same goal. We don't have to fight about who's right and who should lead us.
I believe in a perfect monarchy. So essentially a monarch who is ethical and continuously will always make the right decisions.
Feminism has to be it has to be stronger. I feel like we need more women in government. But that just might be a little biased because I am a woman.
What motivates you?
I think what motivates me is my friends for the most part. Mostly my friend Will. Will is like one of my favorite people ever, and he is always there when I need him. I'll go to him for emotional support and everything. Also Riley. Riley has been my therapist since day one. Whenever I have a problem, I call him and he goes, "Oh, come to my front porch," and we just talk for like an hour. So I think those are like the two most important people out of all of my friends. And Phoebe. Phoebe's pretty cool. I like Phoebe a lot.
What motivates me is my competitiveness and ambition, because I never want to be stagnant or worse than someone. Like, I see myself this way. To avoid arrogance, I say no one is better than me, but also I'm not better than anyone else in terms of intrinsic value.
Not much. I'm the kind of person that if I don't want to do it, I'm probably not gonna.
I'm a very populist person. I've always been motivated by the desires and the wants of people, and the hope to change the world to be a little bit better for those people that inhabit it. I just want to do right by the people that are disenfranchised and don't have a voice for their own.
The intent to kill. My opponents and my any obstacle I face in life. Yeah.
That's kind of a hard one. I'm usually motivated by, I want to be the best that I can be. I also really hold myself to other people's standards. It's something I've been trying to get better at, but it's also a good thing to have a little bit of. It really motivates me to just be the best that I can be to everyone.
Okay, so now you've met everyone, the entire cast, and their very interesting ideas and opinions. Definitely something you'd want to follow and see how we talk together as a group. It's interesting to say the least. Obviously, right now there's 4 other episodes posted at least on our up on our YouTube channel right now, and or on our Spotify. But I encourage you to go take a look at those and give us a shot. Maybe see how. Maybe we're interesting. Maybe you'll find us interesting, and this might be entertaining. And if you've already watched those, stick around for next Friday, where we'll be posting concurrent episodes, hopefully concurrent episodes every Friday. And until then, I'll see you guys.